Hey, hey, hey. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Ron, aka Ron the Artist, coming to you live. And welcome to Ron's Recap. I'm here today to recap and review the TV show All American Homecoming, Season 1, Episode 2, titled Under Pressure. Now let's get into it, because the episode definitely was under pressure. Pressure everywhere, anxiety everywhere, people falling everywhere. I was like, oh my God. Like, stress everywhere. Okay, so again, let's get into it. The episode started off with Simone preparing for her classes and, figuring that out and whereabouts, XYZ. And of course, Damon found his way to her to flirt. Of course. Of course. Okay. That being said, on to Damon. Damon is wanting and he's wanting his hopes up. He's wanting and getting his hopes up for his team captain role. For this team captain role that he's aiming and wishing and wanting for, Will he get it though? Because even though he showed strength within his team and he's able to talk a big game with his team, he's also walked out on them, threw in their faces about his MLB opportunity and just not really showing leadership in his actions. And I definitely think this is not really going to go in his favor. I don't think it will go the way he think it is. At that moment, I wrote that. I don't think it will go the way he think it will go. Prime example, the moment someone slightly tugs at Damon's pride, his ego comes out. He clearly is threatened by a new kid by Ohio that they threw at him that he was getting compared to. Like, bruh, you didn't have to do all that. You didn't have to do all that. You just didn't have to do all that. Like, come on now. Okay, so on back to Simone. On to Simone. She's on the tennis court, ready to get her head back in the game until the coach lets her know that her physical needs to be updated. It's expired. In spite of the recent rule change of 60 days, making it, that much harder for Simone to get back on her feet and to thrive as she has made this promise to do. I guess there was a rule of 60 days, every 60 days for a physical, but a new rule was like as soon as the team starts, there needs to be a physical. So the coach is not playing either. The coach is not playing with her either, and the coach lets her know she can't attend any practices, any group practices, until she gets that physical to be updated. And I just feel like people are giving Simone hell for no apparent reason at this point. Like, why? The girl is new to the school. She's a freshman. Like, stuff is coming out of the woodworks, just hitting her left and right. And I'm like, why? The girl is not asking or, doing much. Like, why? But somehow I knew and felt she's going to prevail. She's going to prevail. She's going to prevail. And I knew she would. So, on to Keisha and Cam. Up early at it. Until Keisha kicked him out before anyone seen him. Awkward. awkward. I guess it hadn't been completed yet, I should say. And Keisha's alarm came on and she kicked him out before anyone seen him. Meanwhile, as I just said, it seems like nothing is, going right for Simone at the moment. She's attempted to sign up for, an interview to get work, for a work study job. And it didn't really work in her favor because she needed to run to class as she was just leaving, working out with her tennis stuff. And she was almost late on the first day. In this particular class, not only is Damon in it, but Cam and Thea is also in it. Of course, Thea's in it. Like, why? Why? And then, what do you know? Homework on the first day of class, and there's a group project at that. And the group project of 3 people is with Thea and Damon. the way the universe works, or in this case, the way the writer works. Like, the writer, good writing. No shade to the writer, but man, sidebar. In undergrad, I hated instructors who gave homework on the first freaking day of class. Like, I felt and still feel instructors, professors, teachers, however they want to call themselves, who give homework out on the first day of class, I feel that there is a very special place in hell for them. Like, what is the reason? Let people get a feel of the freaking class first. Let people enroll in the class, first of all, because typically in that first week, people are coming in and out of the class anyway, figuring out what, if they want to keep the class or not. And then they just dish it out homework on the first day of class. Like, what is the reason? Okay. That was a little moment that I had personally went through that I just wanted to, like, get off my chest. Like, for real. Okay, so to Damon. Seems like Damon is falling further and further in the background. Not only is he having issues with his arm, he's not putting much effort into bonding with the team, potentially securing the team captain spot. He's not really for it. Like, he doesn't want to put in the effort. He wants this role and is somewhat expecting the role and feeling entitled over the role, but is not putting in the work of the role. And again, as I said, he's not showing good leadership. So why should you get this role, sir? I'm just saying. And back to Thea. Her hyperactiveness her hyperactive ass, I'm going to say that. Her hyperactive ass pretty much made all the decisions for the group without consulting with the group for this project. Like, why is she so overly aggressive? And then she came at them like, oh, we need to get an A. It's an A. And it has to be an A or else. Like, whose boss are you? As Simone said later in the episode, you might run me on the court, but you don't run me outside of that court. Like, pipe down. Thea needs to be knocked down a few notches because she is too much. She thinks too much of herself, and what is the reason? Like, you got skills on a tennis court. Like, you, girl, like, pipe down. It's just too much. Yard Yak being next up. Yard Yak. Someone was the face. Simone was the face of Yard Yak for her appearance of the day. They blasted her for her style, so her friends came to save the day. All over campus. Again, another thing added to Simone's list of problems. Like, her friends had to come to the rescue. So, apparently Keisha dropped Dr. Patterson's class, not wanting to answer to her father, who's a doctor, who she doesn't want to disappoint. When this intel was revealed, Simone asked if she could, see about possibly getting a physical with him. That shook Keisha and completely ran her off. The topic of Keisha's father is a sore spot, clearly, because it shook her. It definitely shook her, and I didn't understand why. I'm like, you dropped that woman's class due to it not aligning to the medical major or whatever medical field or science field that you're, exploring within school. So you dropped Dr. Patterson's class because it didn't align with that. And ultimately, the class did align with what you want to get into, or at least somewhat of your interest, but you don't want to get into it because of your father's expectations. Let's talk about that for a second, because I know of a few people. As a fresh college graduate, it's been less than 2 years. I know of a lot of people in school right now, or that were in school, that just didn't major in what they wanted to major in, or things that they were passionate about due to society and opinions and views of the outside world. They feel like they don't want to major in this because it's not going to make enough, even though they know that's their passion and they're already making money with that. I don't understand that. Or like in like Thea's, I mean, I'm sorry, like Camille's case, living under someone else's expectations, someone else's rules and household and all of that, where they want you to live up to this expectation or else. Or I think, as I suspect with Camille, she's wanting to live up to her expectations that's probably not necessarily being held up to her if she just opened her mouth about it. If she opened up her mouth about it, that expectation that she think might be there just might be a bunch of smoke. I know of a few people who also like come from a very, very either religious or like a specific nationality where there are certain career fields that are expected of you or else. So anything beneath that or outside of that is beneath that. Like anything outside of that is not accepted in their culture or just won't be accepted in the household or in general. And that is so unfair in my opinion because you're robbing your child, parents. You're robbing your child of exploring things that are for them, exploring potential aspects that are for them and that's going to make them internally happy and potentially you happy. But you won't give them the opportunity to do that because of your expectations. Like, that is crazy how that works. Like, I'm grateful for myself personally that I was able to explore, the things that I wanted to, but there was expectations for me to like, well, I wouldn't say there was expectations, there were just preferences for me to get into. Other preferences and desires for me to get into, but I refuse to let anybody box me or cage me on what they think that I should do. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to school and that degree, who paid for that or who is going to be paying for that? Nobody else. So if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it for me and nobody else. His expectations or words can make me feel otherwise. Okay, ran over with that. I just wanted to go in that. I just had to go in that, for Camille's sake. Okay, so back to the father situation. I guess, that ran her off. The topic of her father was a sore spot. The next day, Simone found her and apologized for overstepping about her father when asking about her. It was all good because she ultimately didn't know. Camille forgave her, So as it went on, Cam intervened into the conversation after hearing that Keisha is a dancer. And he also heard that why she isn't exploring dance as a professional for real. So yeah. That ended up erupting into like somewhat of a sexual moment with them in each other's faces. So back to Simone, running late to tennis practice, losing her solo spot on the field, or on the court, I should say, due to a time forfeit rule that she knew nothing about. And then seeing that she can't even schedule another spot for the rest of the day due to Thea taking the remaining day slots. Like, Thea is just making sure that she gives Simone the hardest time with no slack. Like, any moment she can get to pinch Simone and just dig at Simone, she will do. Like, girl, why? What is the reason? Like, back up, ease up, chill out. Thea is too much. Next up, Dr. Patterson. It seems like that woman isn't getting much of a break either. I feel bad for her. As I said in my last recap review, I knew some stuff was going to happen with her due to her, bringing stuff to light that has kind of jeopardized that school's funding and all type of other things that jeopardized. And she's getting a lot of riffraff coming her way. From people online harassing her to someone spray painting the word traitor on her classroom door. Just out of control. But for the most part, she seems to be unbothered. But is she really, though? Is she really unbothered? Is she really unbothered? Is the woman really unbothered? Because I know it got to be eating at her some way. Yeah, she might be a strong black woman, but you can only take so much as a human being in general. You can only take so much with riffraff and hearsay and drama coming your way. Especially when she was only doing the right thing. Like, why? Damon. Back to Damon. Again, he isn't having much success with his team either. Like, nobody's having much success in this episode. Like, people were really struggling in this episode with just all aspects of their lives. You know, Damon isn't having much success bonding with the team. You know, the conversation seems to be, you know, reverting back to him and his goals and aspiration as this party took place at Keisha's house. It was supposed to be a little study session with Damon and Simone for their, you know, their presentation. But it turned into a party that JR brought his teammates over to, and bam, bada bing, bada boom. Like, it didn't work out. The conversations with his teammates reverting back to his goals and aspirations, and it wasn't much of a connect. Now, to add, while they're all kicking it at Keisha's house, some guys rolled up challenging their team and challenging their team's validation. And Damon didn't do much to defend them either. Like, another strike against him. Like, dude, this is a team you want to run. This is a team you want to help manage and you want to help lead. Defend the freaking team. Connect to the team. Like, fight for the team. Like, dude, you just showing lousy leadership skills. And I was like, dude, you need to sit down at this point. And what do you know? Shortly after, or hours later, here comes Keisha's father coming back from out of town, aka the school president. Prior to that, Cam ended up falling and hitting his head during a basketball game or whatever. So fast forward back to this, where Keisha's father, the school president, is back out of town, busting up the party from the house. Then to find Keisha kissing Cam in the kitchen. I was like, girl, no. Girl, no. No. I'm like, no. I was like, wow. Busted. So as Simone is upstairs looking for Keisha, she gets a text from the coach asking where's the physical, but she hasn't been able to even get one at all due to scheduling. And bad. The text pushed her into a panic mode, a panic attack. I felt so bad for her because the girl is so overwhelmed, you know, with classes, the tennis team, her living situation, work, etc. Like the freaking yard yak. Everything is just coming at her at one time, and this is a lot. The girl just started as a freshman in college. It's not even a week yet in the damn semester, and she's been hit from every angle with issues. Like, she deserves a break. So I'm like, man, I felt bad for her. She eventually calmed down and rested for the time being. And she was able to get her physical out of it from the professor, who's also a doctor. Well, I'm sorry, the school president, who's also a doctor. After the fact, as she talked to her arm regarding the stress of it all, it inspired her to go look at Black excellence in a museum of the sort. You know, where Damon also was, ironically. Damon gave them both somewhat of a solution after talking by going to work out their crafts on the baseball field, which worked. They pushed each other and encouraged each other on the way. And it also inspired Simone on how she wanted to conclude her portion of their presentation, and progress was made. You know, push came to shove. Simone killed the presentation and got offered a job in response to it by her instructor, which I know pinched the hell out of Thea. She is such a hater. Thea is such a hater. Like, she tried to run the group, tried to just take control of the group, and no, ma'am, it wasn't going down like that. Simone was letting that happen, and look what happened. The girl flourished. The girl flourished. The girl flourished. And I'm happy for that. The girl flourished with the presentation and was offered a job in there in response to, talking about, Black excellence, from HBCUs. And that's a good situation. That's a good situation, At the end of that convo, the professor asked Damon about his roommate, Kim, since he wasn't present in the class for the presentation. So off they went looking for Kim in his dorm to find him unconscious with his pupils dilating. Pulse, not really doing much, and scary. Of course, this is Keisha's new little boy toy. I don't know if they're getting to a point where they might be together or what, but she was concerned, of course. On to Simone. Back to Simone. Simone was able to make it to the queen of the court with the doctor's note from the school president, which shut that coach up quick, fast, and hurry, which allowed Simone to kill everyone on that court that she was to face. She made it to the last opponent, being Thea, of course, the captain. And she almost beat Thea with 1 point of losing on both ends. They both were 7-7. I guess, the 8th point was out for both of them. And Simone was the one to fall short. She was the one to get the 8th point first. And surprisingly, Thea gave her mad props for that. She said, what we did on this court, I've yet to see. No one has ever pushed me to that point. So she gave Simone the props. Like, freshman showed up and showed out and almost cleaned your clock. You better give her props, Thea. I'm just saying. Back to Cam. He got out of the ER and was avoiding Keisha due to the news of him having a brain aneurysm. That means he can no longer play football. And he then went to displacing and using his aggression to push away Keisha, which was cold how he did, because he's like, I don't want to hear anything from you about me or you understanding my situation of me not being able to do what I love to do when that's being ripped away from me, because you have the option to do what you love to do. You just don't want to do it just due to fear of letting your father down, and you're not being true to yourself. He had a point, but it was cold and harsh. It was cold and harsh. He'll regret that, or she will make him regret that, or he'll probably come and apologize afterwards. So some way, somehow he should. On the contrary of that, Simone got offered the last spot on the tennis team due to her results of the queen of the court. After getting all the praises for it by her peers, she stepped it up. She stepped it up, and I'm proud of her. After getting all the praises from her peers, she stepped to Damon about handling his issues with the teammates. With Keisha overhearing that conversation, it inspired her to have the conversation with her father, which got postponed again. It got postponed again. And he said to her, like, I heard how you handled that situation with Kim and how you sounded so urgent, and you knew about, his pulse and pupils dilating. You knew you're going to make a good doctor, and it wasn't it, So that conversation with Simone, and Damon, lastly, it inspired, him to invite his teammates to the back room, to the locker room, to unwind and to get vulnerable with them, which is what he lacked, which Simone pointed out he lacked. To get vulnerable with his teammates, which didn't quite work at first. But it somewhat won them over in the end, and he was able to get JR to be the team captain. JR keeps being the one to step up and be the voice of the team and defend in XYZ, and he nominated JR to be the team captain, and everybody voted for JR to be the team captain, and it worked. So kudos to JR for being the team captain. Damon, as much as he wanted it, it wasn't really working out. It wasn't working out. So I think that was the best decision. And maybe he could be co-captain or something like that. Co-head captain. I don't know if they do that in baseball, but We'll see. Let's see what comes from it. Lastly, Coach Turner. It was time he revealed to Dr. Panacetti about, him being her anonymous source. He wanted to give her clarity on that. Due to being quiet about that so long, and he felt bad because all the chaos that's coming our way, she shouldn't have to face that alone because he was the one to give her the information about it. And he wanted to come forth about it, and Dr. Pedersen was like, no, you will not. Dude, your team is literally in here partying and celebrating and becoming a one, and you're finally getting somewhere with this team as you're just stepping place into that. She was like, I can handle this on my own. She refused to let him come forth with XYZ, even though he just revealed it for the first time. And she keeps saying that she can handle this, but can she really? Everyone has a breaking point. Everyone gets overwhelmed. We just look at Simone tonight. She had a panic attack. I just hope that Dr. Patterson really can handle it and she doesn't get to that point due to all the chaos going on around her, due to her doing the right thing and revealing the fact that these teammates' scores are being, fraudulent scaled just for them to play baseball. So, again, I hope she can handle her own. The episode ended with Coach Turner bonding with his team after that. And that was a good move. I liked it, that moment. They deserved that moment. Coach Turner decided he wanted to play the games with the, teammates, and that was good for them all to bond. I was happy to see that. So that's all I got for you guys this week, guys. It was a good episode again. It's a lot of information. I had about 20 note cards. I just want to show y'all this. Oh my God, I had about 20 note cards. A lot of information. But it was a good episode. And again, I'm intrigued, and I really like this show. All American Homecoming. I like this spinoff. Sidebar, I want to know when and how Jordan is going to come into this spinoff, because he's got to. In some way, at some point, Jordan is going to come. He's going to come in this spinoff, and I want to see and know how it's going to happen, because when he does, he might not like what he sees or what he's going to come to know. I'm sure of it. So, in due time, we'll see. We'll see. Again, it's your boy Ron, a.k.a. Ron the Artist. If you're watching this right now with me, we are live on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, it is not live. It's pre-recorded and taken over from Instagram and uploaded there. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, like, share, comment on the video. Let's talk about the recap. Let's talk about the review. How did I do? What did you think about the episode? Same if you're watching on Instagram. Like, comment, share. What did you think about this recap review? What did you think about the episode? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, people. Until we meet again, next week it is. Peace.